Now you have some time to look at the questions.
OK, everyone, before we begin the tour of the Manor House, I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you about the organisation that now owns the estate, and for which I work, the National Trust. The National Trust is the largest membership organisation in the UK, with 4.24 million members. Our annual revenue is £494 million. At the present time, we have 5,899 paid members of staff and an additional 62,000 volunteers. That's an approximate number because new volunteers are joining us all the time. The Trust owns about 350 heritage properties. Many of these are large country houses that the owners donated to us because they could no longer afford to maintain them. The Trust also owns gardens and industrial monuments. The Trust's sources of income include membership subscriptions, entrance fees, donations, and revenue from the gift shops and restaurants within our properties, with much of the money raised being invested back in the preservation of the properties themselves. And, of course, this is the principal purpose of the National Trust: the conservation and protection of historical places and spaces, with a view to making them available to the public. As well as owning stately homes and houses associated with famous people, the National Trust has gradually extended its collection of art, and it also owns valuable books, clothing, furniture, ceramics, and all kinds of unusual objects. Now, if you would like to join the National Trust, I have the forms here, or you can visit our website and join online. You'll get unlimited access to hundreds of wonderful days out across the country. Lifetime membership costs £1,555, but most members join for a year at a time. Individual membership is currently £64 annually, but it's cheaper to join with your partner or another family member, as it'll be £108 for two people living at the same address. For a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 children, a year's membership costs £114. It's a great gift for a birthday or other special event. There are lots of benefits to being a member. As well as free parking at all our locations, you receive a National Trust handbook full of information to help you plan your visits. And if you pay by direct debit, you'll receive a free pair of binoculars. Oh, I almost forgot. All members receive a free copy of the National Trust magazine, sent to you by post 3 times a year.
Now you have some time to look at the questions.
Good idea. And my note-taking skills need work as well. But science and technology students don't seem to get much help. In laboratory tutorials, it sometimes seems like everyone's a little nervous about coming up with ideas for particular experiments. So I just start talking, even if I don't know what I'm talking about. I always feel like I'm dominating the conversation and speaking too much, but after I've made my point, everyone else suddenly discovers what they want to say and we can relax.
I know how you feel. Anyway, let's think about what to do after the keynote speech on Tuesday. There are 2 talks which immediately follow it, but neither of them look that interesting, so it would probably be a better idea if we use that time to decide which of tomorrow's lectures we should attend. Shall we grab a coffee while we're doing that?
That's a great idea. Then we can go to that final lecture on virtual reality applications a bit more refreshed. Once that one is finished, let's head over to that cheap Italian restaurant for something to eat. We'll be starving by then.
You're on, and it's your turn to pay.
Now you have some time to look at the questions.
I'm glad the week was of use to you. It seems to change focus annually. Sometimes the emphasis is more on science, sometimes on technology, but there was an excellent balance this time. It really brings these areas of study and research to the attention of the wider world, and, for me, that's the primary reason the festival exists. You may have noticed when you were there that there were a number of university information stands set up around the campus. Did you see the free reference booklets that they were giving out?
No, I assumed the stands were there to provide people with directions to each talk.
Well, their aim was to encourage everyone to read some of the latest studies coming out of our labs and classrooms. Many of the lecturers at the festival actually wrote the studies that were listed. So the talk and the booklets together are a great introduction to their work for anyone who attended. But the staff were certainly happy to point people in the right direction if it was needed.
I have to admit it was quite confusing trying to follow some of the signs around the campus telling us where to go. So we used the map and the festival guidebook to find our way around. It was great for that. And although one or two of the talks actually started at different times to what was printed on the page, one other thing I did like about the guidebook was that it wasn't full of adverts.
Oh, I agree, but that's always the case with festivals now. I don't mind that if it means that the festival is free to enter, as more and more of them are these days. And even if there is a fee for admission, the festival organisers hardly make any money from that, though they do tend to put the price of entry up each year. They have to make money to run the festival somehow, so it makes sense to get the majority of that through ads.
That's a fair point.